Everybody, welcome to the webinar. Welcome, Omar Zenhom here, co-founder of Webinar Ninja. It's good to have you here for this masterclass, Sell More, Pitch Less. I'm very pumped to teach you this class. This is probably one of your bonuses as being part of one of our plans on Webinar Ninja. So thanks for joining us. I want to just kind of give you a brief overview of why I built this class and why I thought it was so important. It's because a lot of people, they start on webinars and they really love the medium, but they get nervous about the sales process. They feel like, hey, I need to make sales. I need to make sales for my products, my services. This is why I'm running webinars, to market myself. But they don't really have a formula of how do I deliver my product? How do I actually offer it to my audience so I can make those sales? So this is why I packaged this course. I want to make sure that this masterclass allows you to know exactly what to do when you're on your webinar and even before the webinar, so you can be able to maximize your ability to sell on the webinar itself. Okay, so just a quick few things before we get started, before I pop open my slides and get started with the workshop. Welcome to the webinar. If you have any questions along the way, just hit the questions area below. This is live. If I say it's a live webinar, it's a live webinar. I don't hoodwink anybody here. So if you have any questions along the way, we have a questions tab below, and you can below the video. So if you have any questions along the way, just pop them in the questions area below, and we'll answer them as we go along or towards the end as well. If they're just in time, I'll see if I can take a break in the actual workshop and do that. We have a small group today, so there's plenty of time for questions, and we can keep this fluid. It doesn't have to be super rigid. So any questions along the way, pop them below, and we'll love to answer your questions. Again, feel free to chat with us. Let us know how you're coming from. If you have any kind of comments or you want to add to the discussion, feel free to do that in the chat. I'm going to get started. I'm going to pop open my presentation slides here and share those with you. Okay, I'm going to move the camera a little bit down. Here we go. So I should be picture in picture now. You should see the slides as well. Okay, great. All right, so today's webinar is all about sales, okay? So if you're worried about sales, this is completely natural. Most of us haven't gone to school to be a salesperson, right? We are good at what we do, whether we're a writer or a travel blogger or a fitness expert or a physician, whatever we are, right? This is our area of expertise. But as we try to market ourselves, as we try to sell our products and services using webinars, we're gonna have to learn a few skills on how sales works. Someone doesn't really sit down and teach us the fundamentals. What exactly is sales, and how do we actually make this happen? What's the formula behind sales? And that's what I want to really offer that to you in the form of a webinar, so you know exactly how sales works on webinars, okay? The beauty about webinars is that it's permission marketing, meaning that you are not going up to people in the middle of the mall or something and trying to sell your products and services, right? They're coming to you. They've signed up to your webinar, right? So you already have a leg up. So people are here on your webinar to listen to what you have to say and to hear what you have to offer. So it's no surprise. And I want to kind of just talk about that for a second. When people join your webinar, we all know that you're an entrepreneur. We all know that you have products and services. They understand that there is going to be an opportunity where they're going to learn more about something that they can buy, right? They understand that this is going to happen. This is not like some sort of surprise or some sort of mystery, right? But just so you can be, totally transparent, it's very important for you to let people know if there's going to be an offer at the start of the webinar, even before the webinar. We'll talk about transparency and how to do that a little bit later, but I just wanted to make that clear. That a lot of us, we get nervous because it's like, how do I actually approach people? Just know from the bat, off the bat, people know that you have a product, you have a service, you have a business. It's not a surprise. When you joined my webinar, when you purchased Webinar Ninja, or when you've seen any of my webinars in the past, you understand that I run a software business, not like a surprise. All right. So I just want to kind of put that out there just to let you know, and just to keep it as a reminder. Okay. Let's talk about what we're going to be talking in today's workshop, okay? In today's workshop, we're going to cover a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to cover the sales process A to Z, what it takes to get a prospect, somebody who might be interested in what we have to offer, how to qualify them, make sure that they are perfect for our product or our service. We're going to show you how to create your sales offer. We're going to talk about risk reversal, how to make sure that we lower the risk for the potential customer. You lower the risk, the more potential you have to get them in the door, which is called lowering the barrier of entry. So we'll talk about that and how to do that with your webinars, as well as we'll talk about bonuses versus discounts. Do these things work? How do they work? What are some things you can experiment with that so you can incentivize people to buy on your webinars, as well as answering your questions, of course. I'll have open Q&A. If you have any questions about your particular style of sales or whatever you'd like to do, please, again, questions area below the video. Any questions, just pop them there and we'll answer them. All right, let's jump right in. And again, guys, don't feel free to ask questions at any time. I will definitely have the chance to kind of jump in and answer those questions, because again, we have a smaller group today. It's not a larger webinar like every webinar that we have, and allows us to kind of go back and forth a little easier. Okay, let's jump right in. Okay, so if you've been on any webinar before, you know that I have one goal for every webinar. I like to pass this goal on to you. Any webinar you do, you should have one single goal, and that one single goal in my book should be to build trust. You really should just focus on building trust. This is especially important if you're trying to make a sale, right? We only buy from those we trust, right? If you think about anything you've purchased in the past, right, you probably bought it because you trust the brand, right? I think about, like right now in front of me, I have my MacBook, right? My MacBook Pro. Why did I buy this MacBook Pro, right? I first actually was interested in podcasting really early in the days, and I learned about iTunes. And iTunes was an interesting kind of app that had podcasts on it. Okay, this was pretty cool. And then I realized, oh, I can buy a device that will allow me to listen to podcasts easier, which is called the iPod. And I got my iPod for the first time. It was really cool, really nice interface. It was something I never experienced before. I started to build trust with that brand. When it was time for me to get a new laptop, I thought, hey, why not Mac? Why not Apple? Because, you know, I love the iPad so much. I mean, iPod so much. So you tell me, you know, go back in your mind. What are some things that you bought in the past? And it's all built on trust. I always talk about, you know, Disney. Disney's business is all built on trust. People go on Disney vacations because they trust the brand. They've built a relationship with them, whether it's through the cartoons with their kids or the characters in the movies or whatever it is, right? So the whole goal of the webinar is to build trust. That's how you make a sale, right? It's not really by saying the right things or convincing them to buy this thing or their life will end. You know, all that stuff. Pressure tactics never work. You know, it's going to result in a chargeback or a refund. You want to build trust so people make the decision to buy from you. That's really what your job is to allow them to make the decision. You give them the information so they can make the decision to buy from you. All right. So quickly, if you don't know who I am, I'm Omar Zenhom. I'm going to keep this intro very brief. I'm the co-founder. I'm the CEO of Webinar Ninja. I founded Webinar Ninja with my partner in life and partner in business, Nicole Baldino. You see me and Nicole. We love to travel in our free time. It's one of our favorite things when we're not running a software business or running our podcast, which is the $100 MBA show, which is our content kind of machine. We deliver daily 10-minute business lessons with the $100 MBA show. We won Best of iTunes, which was a great honor. You know, I was an entrepreneur from 2002, where I started a whole bunch of side businesses. One of my side businesses was a clothing line, actually, before I went into full-time entrepreneurship. But all my adult life, I've been teaching. I was a teacher for 13 years at the high school and university level. And then about 6 years ago, I made the leap into full-time entrepreneurship, where I run the $100 MBA and Webinar Ninja and all that stuff. So that's a little bit of my backstory. I just want to share that with you guys for those who are new here, have never attended a webinar. That's who I am. And if you have any travel tips or any interesting places you've been before, email me. Let me know. I love to learn about new places to go. So my email is omar@webinarninja.com. So it's simple and easy and remember. Okay, cool. Let's jump right in. So we're going to go through the sales process. There's 3 steps to any sale process. And I want to make sure that I tell you that this is applicable directly for running a webinar and selling on a webinar. That's the end goal, is sell on a webinar, okay? But you can apply the sales process pretty much to any situation, even in real life, even if you're selling in a corner store, right? And we'll break down each step, and I'll give you some parallels in a second. Let me just take a sip of water real quick. All right, great. So let's go Now, it says 3 steps to any sale, but I'm going to keep you on your toes. And we're going to start with step 0. Okay. We're going to start with step 0. All right. Even though we said 3 steps, I like to surprise you. Now, step 0 is really what I call pre-qualify with content. Okay. So not everybody is meant to buy your product. In fact, you shouldn't be selling to everybody. Okay. It's a very, very competitive market when you're trying to sell to every single person. And this is a very rookie mistake that I made when I started doing businesses online and things like that and trying to sell, is that you try to appeal to every single person. And that just doesn't resonate with anybody. If you're trying to talk to everybody, you're not talking to anybody, right? So you really want to pre-qualify and find specifically who's perfect for your product or service, okay? So you want to pre-qualify them with content. When I say content, I mean great information that would attract the right person. Let me say it again. Great information that would attract the right person for your product or service, somebody who would be a great customer for your product or service. So you want to pre-qualify them with a short guide, a checklist, or cheat sheet. That's one option. So I found that these 3 options, these bullet points here, are great for pre-qualifying content. Having something that they can digest very quickly, whether it's a checklist, a short guide, a 1 or 2 page PDF, or cheat sheet to do something, whatever specialty you're in, whether it's in cat grooming or furniture making, whatever it is. What is a quick cheat sheet on how not to get a splinter or something when you're woodworking? I don't know. This is not my specialty, but it's just an example, right? So something short that they can download and digest quickly. And the reason why we're doing this is not so. Yes, we're building trust. Yes, we're giving them great information. We're showing them that we know what we're talking about. But it's to attract, again, the right people. So when people go to your website, when people go to your blog, when people find you through a Google search, right? If they give their name and email address to grab this guide, it means they're interested in something that you sell. So make sure the guide is connected some way to your product or service. Okay. So if I'm a basketball coach and I have a course on the complete package on how to improve your basketball game, right? I might have just a quick cheat sheet on free throw shooting, on free throw shooting, how to overcome high stakes situations. It's the end of the game. You got to hit your free throws. It can cost you the game. You want to make sure that you clear your head, all that stuff. So I'm going to make sure my guide leads them to my product, right? It's connected, right? It wouldn't make any sense if I give them a cheat sheet on something like, what's the best uniform to wear or the best sneakers or whatever. Your point is that you want to stay in line with your product, okay? One of the best ways to do this is to take one of the modules of your course or one of the features of your product and flesh that out into a cheat sheet or guide. Okay, that way they can opt in and that they're on track. If somebody opts in, if they give their name and email address to download this piece of content, it means that they're interested in what you have to offer, or there's a good chance they're going to be interested. Another option is a short course. It could be a 4, 5, 6, 7-part video course, each video being 3 or 4 minutes, right? And they can, give their name and email address on their website, and then from there they can access the course, right? You can give it to them, give them the pages where those pages. You can give the pages where those videos are hosted, right? I've seen people do email courses. So basically, they do a drip campaign on automation with their email marketing provider, whether it's MailChimp or ConvertKit or Aweber or whatever they're using, right? Or when they sign up, they give them a course via email. So every day they'll get an email with information on how to improve a certain area. And basically it's the text format of the video course. And some people really like this. They like getting an email every day and they can just read the email. I actually opted into an email course a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed it. It was kind of refreshing versus the video courses that you see. Okay, or you can just have them opt in to watch a 10 to 20-minute video lesson. Okay, this is just a pre-recorded video where it gives them information on how to improve a certain area in their life. Okay, the whole point of all of this is to pre-qualify them, to see to track the right people to sign up to your list, so then you can later on get them on the webinar, and you can invite them on your webinar, and then you can give them more information, take them to the next level of information, so that way you can then give them an offer to your product or service. So that's step 0, pre-qualify them with content, right? You want to make sure, because you don't want anybody just to sign up for your webinar. I highly recommend not to, drive traffic directly to your webinar registration page. A lot of people, they run Facebook ads and things like that. And we've tested this a whole bunch of times, and we found it to be a lot more successful when you get them to pre-qualifying content. To convert them to pre-qualifying content first, just get them on your email list first with this content, and then you can invite them. Once you have their email list, you can invite them anytime you want, right? So it's actually a cheaper conversion rate on Facebook versus getting somebody to register for a webinar that they make a decision, well, can I make that date? Can I make that time, right? Versus getting them to just opt into something they can get instantly. A lot easier to get a conversion there if you're going to use paid ads. So I don't recommend actually running ads straight to the webinar. I actually recommend running ads straight to a pre-qualifying piece of content. Okay, let's move on to the actual step 1. Actually, we got a couple more things here. Sorry. So step 0. So again, it's just a recap. We're going to offer something on your website to qualify them, a course, an email course, a short video, or 10 to 20-minute video, or even a series of videos. After you give them value, you can then invite them with a qualifying question. So this is the next kind of step. You're going to qualify them. Okay. Hey, can I do this? Do you want to learn more about this? So I write, do you have a Bengal cat? Right. So say, for example, I'm in the cat grooming business. I have a Bengal cat for real in my life, right? Her name is Bengalina, right? So if I got an email, I opted into a course, and then my next email or a couple emails down, the person that runs that business says, do you have a Bengal cat? Right? Ask that question. That question is pretty, telling if that person's qualified for this webinar, because maybe I have a course on that webinar that I want to sell about Bengal cats. So I say, join me for this free live training. That's a great way to just qualify them with a question. If you have a Bengal cat, this is perfect for you, right? So do you suffer from back pain? If you're, somebody who treats back pain, home remedies, things like that, then that's something that you can really ask. Just straight up ask them, because if the answer is yes, then they're going to want to be able to attend that webinar. So have some sort of pre-qualifying question when you're inviting them to the webinar. Okay. Now, we have them on the webinar. They're on the webinar now. We've invited them. We asked them, hey, would you like to be a part of this webinar? Do you suffer from back pain? Do you have a Bengal cat? Do you choke under pressure when you're on the free throw line in basketball? These are all examples of questions that I am asking so I can get them to get on the webinar, to see if they're interested to go on this webinar, to attend that webinar. So once we've done that, we got to connect and qualify. They're on the webinar now. This is where you really need to start thinking on your feet, okay? Really, people that do a really good job with sales on webinars, they don't do the same thing over and over and over, right? Every time I run a webinar, I need to really understand my crowd so I can be able to tailor the webinar and tailor my sales pitch at the end, or my sales offer, so that it suits them, not just anybody, right? I need to make sure that it suits them. So we'll talk about how to do that. So step 1, we're going to connect and qualify. What does that mean? It simply means we're going to greet them. We want to get to know them. So at the start of the webinar, it's very important for you to ask people how they're doing, where they're coming from, just get to know them. Genuinely try to get to know them. You need to know them, because in order for you to be able to know how to sell or know how to offer your products and services to them, you need to understand who they are, where they're coming from, what their needs are, right? So spend some time at the start to greet them and get to know them. Do they qualify? Ask them, do you blank, right? So at the start of the webinar, right? Say, for example, I'm running that webinar as a basketball coach where I'm going to teach people how to improve their free throw shooting, right? And I just ask them the question, hey, do you struggle at the free throw line in high stakes situations where it's the end of the game, right? Do you struggle at the free throw line, right? Does the pressure get to you? Right? Ask these questions. These are not rhetorical questions. These are questions you want to ask and get an answer. You want to get people to say yes. Why? Because you have to identify the problem, and you have to agree on the problem, and you got to get them to admit there's a problem, right? If you don't get them to say, yes, there's a problem, then when you give them a solution, your product, when you sell that product, then it's not going to make any sense. It's not going to make any sense why I need this product, right? So you need to make sure that whatever your product solves, whatever your actual product solves, you actually identify that problem at the start. Okay, so that's why that qualifying question at the start is so important. Hey, do you, whatever genre you're in, whatever you're in, you're trying to help people lose weight before it's, summertime, let's say, for example, right? Do you struggle with losing weight? Do you put the weight back on? Ask questions that will identify the problem that you solve, right? Don't ask questions that you can't solve, right? Don't ask questions where the answer is a problem that you can't solve, because then you're basically doing a false promise. You're basically promising somebody a solution to something that you can't solve, okay? So make sure that when you ask questions that it's directly related to the problem you solve with your product or service, okay? And obviously, you're going to help them throughout the way through the webinar. You got to give them value, of course, right? And then the product is really going to take them home, is really going to make them take it to the next level. It's pretty clear, guys. So when you're in the beginning, you're greeting them, you're asking the question, you're finding out what the problem is, identify the problem, make sure we all agree on the problem so that we can focus on the solution later on. Okay, let's move on. Why step one? We need a product customer fit, right? You got to make sure that your product actually fits your customer, right? Number two, when you identify a problem, when you ask these questions, you have a chance to educate people why this problem happens, how to solve the problem, how to approach the problem, all these things. You can educate them based on this. A problem is a great way to run a webinar. Having a pain point, something that people suffer. Problems really resonate with people. When somebody has a problem, it really hurts, and people have strong feelings for that, right? And strong feelings are a great way to kind of get energy from the crowd, okay? And then, of course, you're going to have a transparent invitation. I call it an invitation, but basically, you're telling them at the start of the webinar, I will be giving you a special deal, a special offer. I'm going to be showing you something that's going to help you, that's for sale. And I like to do this as early as possible. I even put it in the email before the webinar starts. Say, hey, I'm going to be making a special offer for those who want to get started with Webinar Ninja. It's going to show you how to utilize the things I teach on the webinar with the software. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with being transparent, being very transparent. And you can have fun with this. You can actually just say, hey, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. I will warn you when I'm about to sell so you can run away or whatever. And, I actually did that a couple times, and people think it's funny, and they actually stay for the pitch. They stay for the sales part of the webinar because they're interested to hear what I have to offer. And obviously people respect and they actually trust you more when you're transparent. So just be transparent and invite them and say, hey, later on, I'm going to be talking about the product that I have that's going to help you solve this problem in detail, but I'm going to give you some tips to help you along the way as well in this workshop. Okay? All right. Take a sip of water here before I move on to step two. All right. Step two is needs assessment and close. Okay. You need to understand what the needs are for your audience, for the people that are on the webinar, the actual people on the webinar. I'm not talking about generally your avatar. I'm talking about the actual individuals on your webinar. What are their needs? What are their issues? What are the things they're struggling with? Right? Why? Because you need that information to close the sale, right? And I'll tell you why. Because you can't close the sale. If you know anybody in sales, they'll tell you when you're trying to close a sale, right? You can't close the same way with everybody because everybody's needs are different, right? If I say something to somebody, say for example, I'm selling somebody a Tesla, right? I'm a Tesla salesperson, right? And maybe I don't really care about the environment. Maybe it's not something I care about, but I really love speed. I love driving fast, and Teslas are really fast, right? If I go on and on about how it's so energy efficient and how we're saving the world with Teslas, it's a turnoff. They're like, I don't really care about that, right? You're not going to close that sale, right? You need to find out what their needs are, what they like, what really attracted them to the product, what they're looking for, right? And then use that in the close. Okay, so I'll give you some more examples and I'll explain a little bit further right now. Okay, so you're going to ask questions to find out their needs. So I often ask the question at the start of the webinar, what would be a win for you today, right? What would you want to get out of this webinar, right? I also talk about I ask some questions like, why haven't you done webinars yet? What are some of the things you struggled with? You have to find out what they're looking for in a software. What are some things you want me to explain? okay? Or I say software, that's for me, but what they're looking for in your product, okay? You want to customize the close based on their needs, okay? You want to give them the benefits that are in line with their needs, because if you don't do that, it's going to cause overwhelm, right? So if I just rattle off all the features of Webinar Ninja back and forth, it's going to take me over an hour, right? On top of that, it's just going to be overwhelming. People are like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know already, so you don't want to do that. What you want to do is just give them the information that they actually want, the actual information they need, the information that's going to make them say, this is for me, right? So you need to find out what they're looking. Why are you looking into Webinar Ninja? Why are you looking into my product? Why are you looking into improving your free throw shooting, right? And they're going to give you their reasons. So the beauty of webinars, it's that it's interactive. You go back and forth. So utilize that and find out what their needs are. So when you're trying to tie up your product with their needs, you can close properly. So I often do this because when I do my demo of my product, and this applies to you as well if you're doing a demo for your product, whether it's a course, whether it's a physical product, whether it's a guide, whatever you're selling, right? You're going to do a demo at some point. You're going to show them what your product is all about, right? You want to show the aspects that attract their needs, that really are linked to their needs, right? And you can talk about the other stuff if people have questions. You might be like, what about this feature, this feature, this feature, right? If people really want to know, they'll ask that question. And when they ask that question, you can go ahead and answer and show them a demo of that feature, right? But you don't want to overwhelm people. You want to just show them what fits their needs, right? I need something that's easy. I need something that's fast. I need something that I can implement right away. You show them those needs. Okay. And then that's how you close. You show them, hey, these are your needs. We solve these needs, or we cater to these needs with this product. And that's how you close hand in hand with their needs. I hope that makes sense, because otherwise you're just giving them too much information they can't really utilize. Okay. So after we have pre-qualified them, which was step 0, step 1, where we qualify them, we greet them, we find out what's going on. That's in step 1. Step 2, we find out their needs assessment, and then we close with their needs. When we actually sell and we talk about our product and service, we actually show the things that they want, what they're looking for that solves their problems. Step 3, okay, you've run the webinar. You've given your sales demo. You've given your sales pitch, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, right? But the webinar is over now. You definitely need to follow up. I say about 50% of my sales happen after the webinar, okay? Lots happen during the webinar. There's an offer during the webinar, they take it up. But a lot of people, they just need more time, or they just need more reminders, okay? So you have to follow up in that sales process. And this is so applicable even offline, okay? So make sure that you do follow up during your webinar. I'll show you what you can do. So number 1, remind them of the offer and the replay. So in Webinar Ninja, our software, you have a way to customize your email notifications. If you just go to any webinar, you go to options, email notifications, you can then simply edit that webinar email. You can just email that goes out for the replay. We have 3 different kinds of replay webinars, replay emails. So let me just quickly open up Webinar Ninja. I'm going to just open up, and I'll share my screen and show you that just to make it super simple. Okay, let me share my screen, and I'll maximize share screen. So I'm going to go to one of my webinars, for example, and I'm going to go to a webinar that I'm going to do, let's say next week or something. Okay, let me go to my webinars. So say, for example, I go to this webinar. I can go to email notifications. Once I go to email notifications, I will see the list of notifications here, okay? And you'll see that I can edit any of them. So in the last 3 emails, we have 6, 7, 8. We says, you missed it. We got you covered with the replay. Thanks for attending. Watch again with a replay, and then thanks for attending. So these are 3 different templates based on if you're going to be offering a replay or not. So in your webinar settings, I'll show you that next, you can choose if you want to choose to have a replay and when that replay expires. Okay, so for example, if they didn't attend the webinar, okay, they didn't attend it at all, they're going to get this email, and Webinar Ninja will automatically filter for people that did not attend the webinar and send them this email which says, you missed it, we got you covered. If they did attend, we send them this email, thanks for attending, watch again with a replay. Okay. If they did attend, but you're not offering a replay, say for example, you say no replay for this webinar, you give them a thanks for attending webinar. And in all three cases, you want to edit the copy to make sure that, hey, that this email is sent properly. Okay. Because if they didn't attend, you want to make sure that the copy has the information about the offer. Again, we're going to remind them about the offer. We're going to tell them about when the deadline is for the offer. So for example, if I open up this one, you missed it, I have my email copy here, all right? And I have all the code and all that stuff and when it ends, okay? If I want to save this copy to use later on, I can definitely click this button that says set email text as default. So this becomes the default text for future webinars, okay? So I don't have to rewrite if the offer is the same every webinar. I may want to change the code or something like that later on, and I can do that if I'd like to do that, okay? And then I hit save, okay? It's pretty simple. That way you don't have to rewrite things over and over. I'm going to do the same thing for all three of my emails because, again, it's different scenarios. If somebody never attended, if somebody attended and they're getting a replay, and then, of course, if I don't have a replay, if I shut off my replay, they're going to get this one. It's just thanking them for attending and telling them about the offer. So I like to make sure that all of them are pretty much covered. Okay, and we also have, of course, the replay information. So you can just pop in the information automatically. So here we have the short codes. So here's the webinar title with host name and webinar replay page link. I just basically copied this thing, or I can just click it. So if you see, if I put this right here, my mouse, and then I click this, it's going to populate it automatically. Okay, so you can easily craft this email, save as default. That's it. This is really important because you want to be able to follow up with your attendees, your non-attendees, and remind them of your offer. Okay, because they're going to forget. They're going to need reminders. And they also need to know what the deadline is, right? Sometimes they'll miss it on the live webinar. They might have tuned out for a second. It's good to have them. Okay, I just want to quickly show you in webinar settings where you set your replay options. Okay, so if you want to show a replay, not have a replay expire after a certain number of days. Anytime you want to edit a webinar, anytime you want to do something with a webinar, it's always going to be in your webinar card. So here's my webinar card. I go to options. Okay, everything is here for you to edit. So if I go to webinar settings here, okay, I can change the expiration of the replay. So here, if I just zoom in here, you'll see no expiration, expire after 3 days. I can change this if I want, right? Or have no replay after webinar. I don't want to offer replay. Some people like to just have a live experience. So that's really simple. You hit save, done deal. If you want to save these settings for all future webinars, you can just click this for settings for default for all my webinars, and that's the setting that's going to be saved for all your webinars. So you don't have to mess around with that if you want to just save it forever. All right, cool. I just wanted to show you that to give you a visual. But follow-up is so important, okay? You want to make sure that you give them the offer with the replay, okay? For those who don't buy, even after you want to invite them to your next webinar, okay? Keep them on your email list. Invite them to the next webinar. Keep giving them great content. Another thing is that you can give them an alternative offer, right? You can definitely give them an alternative offer. So if people don't buy, if they don't become a member, if they don't become a buyer of a product or service, you may want to take them to a step before that. Maybe you have a product that's a little bit less expensive, or maybe you have a plan that's a little bit lower barrier of entry, a monthly plan versus an annual plan, something like that. But you want to give them an alternative offer, right? And then you can also ask them to reply to your emails. Ask them, hey, I saw that you attended my webinar. I saw that, I gave an offer. I gave some follow-up emails. Just wondering, why wasn't it a good fit for you? Get them to reply to you and find out why they didn't buy. Maybe they're going to say, I don't think it was a good fit for me. And you get some more feedback so you can tweak the way you present your product or the product itself. Maybe they'll say it's too expensive. Maybe they'll say it's not a good time. Whatever it is, you're going to get feedback from people to know why they didn't buy. That's the best way to find out and learn and improve your sales process as well as the product itself. So this is something, sometimes it's not so comfortable to hear from people about why they don't like your product or service, but it's great feedback because it allows you to improve instantly. Okay, it allows you to improve right away. So ask them to reply. to your emails with feedback if they don't buy. Okay. So here's a whole bunch of options. You have to follow up with people. People forget, people need reminders. And it's easy to do with Webinar Ninja because you have those templates that get sent out automatically. You don't have to do anything. It just happens automatically. Just so you know, for reference, those emails for the replay follow-up emails, those get sent 2 hours after the webinar time is up. So if you set your webinar for 1 hour from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 2 hours after 2 o'clock p.m., it's going to get sent out. So like 4 p.m. So just so you know. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Let's see. Any other points here? Sales offer. Let's talk about sales offer. Okay. So when you're making your sales offer, this is the point where you're actually making your sales offer to your audience on the webinar. You have a goal here. You want to make sure that the whole process is an exceptional experience. You don't want this to feel icky. You don't want this to feel uncomfortable for people. You want people to have a good time, right? You want people to have to enjoy the process of learning about your product, learning about how it can help them, and really get excited about what you have to offer, right? So try to make it as interactive as possible, as well as positive as possible. So when you're demoing your product, I highly recommend you demo your product in any way possible. That's the way you really get people to imagine themselves owning your product, whether it's a course, whether it's a book, whether it's a software, whether it's a physical product, like I'm selling this iPhone or something, okay? Show them, don't sell them. People want to know more. The more you show them, the better. You know, I learned this the hard way. Sharing your screen is one of the best things you could do. You know, I share screen as much as I can because it's the best way to visualize what I'm talking about. I show them inside the software, right? I used to do this even when I was selling the $100 MBA on webinars. You know, that's how I got started. I used to show them every course and show the modules, show the titles, show them an example video so they can see how high quality the videos are. So show them, don't sell them. Okay. Transparent overview. We talked about this before. Excuse me. But you want to let people know from the start that you're going to be selling, that you have an offer, and that it's going to be, you know, towards the end of the webinar, right? Let them know that they're still going to get value. They're still going to learn, and they should definitely get a lot out of their webinar. I do a lot of work and research and refinement to make sure that our live webinars are full of value. They walk away, even if they don't buy, feeling like they got their time's worth, that they didn't waste their time. That hour was great and they learned a lot, right? But at the same time, you got to let them know that I am here to offer you something to help you beyond this webinar, right? And this is a product that I'm going to offer you. Let them know at the start, and then when you're actually about to offer them, remind them again, hey, I'm about to give you a special offer, so they know that you're not trying to hoodwink them or try to slide it in somehow. No one likes to feel like they've been cheated, you know? I was listening to a great podcast called Business Wars, and people were really upset that there was no kind of break between the actual podcast and the ad read, the commercial, really. And they really felt like they got deceived. And this is a podcast, it's just free, right? And they're not, you know, it's just the sponsor for the show. So people really don't like feeling like you're trying to trick them. So make sure there's a clean break between, okay, now I'm going to be showing you guys what I want to offer you as a special discount or something like that. Okay. You want to have your content be very relevant to your product. So your actual webinar content, the workshop you're giving, has to be a perfect bridge to your product, okay? So whether it's how to use your product is the actual workshop, or a first module, an introduction. This is probably the best thing. If you have a course, I used to do this with the $100 MBA. I used to basically teach on the webinar my introductory course on the $100 MBA as my webinar. So it kind of leads them to the next step is the course, okay? Make sure it's relevant. Make sure that they see the connection. Again, I said show them, don't tell them. Demoing is the best way to make any kind of offer, okay? Now, when it's time to actually say, hey, I have something for sale, right? You know, you want to make sure that you're very clear, okay? You've asked for their needs assessment, right? You find out what they needed. You show them your solution by addressing their needs. You find out, okay, this is why you're on this webinar. This is your problems. This is how my product solves your problems, right? You want to show them how it all works. You walk them through the whole buying process. You can even go to the checkout page and say, hey, this is what's going to happen when you click my offer button. Here's the checkout page. And this is definitely important if your demographic is not like the most tech savvy people in the world, right? Even people that are mediocre tech savvy, they just like to know what's going to happen next. And when I click this button, what am I going to see? Click the button. This is the checkout page. You're going to choose this plan, and then you move on to this checkout process, right? Show them how you can address their needs immediately with the course. As soon as you sign up, this is what you're going to get, all right? This is very important. State your offer. Be clear. You don't need to dance around it. Just say it like you're stating a fact, okay? So for example, today we have an offer for Webinar Ninja. If you buy today, you're going to get these bonuses. These bonuses are valued at $1,200. Let me show you these bonuses, okay? If you sign up with an annual plan, you'll get these bonuses. So I'm just stating facts, right? I don't have to dance around it. I don't have to, be squirmish about it. If you do that, it doesn't really sound very convincing. It doesn't sound like it's valuable, right? Even though it is. I know that it is valuable. I know you wouldn't be offering something that's not valuable. But when it sounds like that, people don't feel like you're confident, they don't feel confident about what they're buying, okay? So make sure you state your offer just like it's a fact. Hey, we have 20% off today. If you use this coupon code, all you got to do is click the offer button below and use the coupon code, and it's valid until the end of today or, the next 48 hours or whatever it is. Just state it clearly, okay? Do not, go back and forth. Don't be squeamish about it. Even script it out if you have to, and read it if you need to read it. Put it on a text doc right in front of you on your laptop or on your screen, and just read your offer. State it, okay? And then give them a reason to take action. We all work on incentives. So we'll talk about discounts and offers and bonuses, but really, we really need to make sure that we give them a reason to take action. Why should they buy now, right? Because maybe there's a special offer. Maybe that you're going to give a bonus. Maybe there's a discount. Maybe things are going to get more expensive later on. You're raising prices next month, and this is a good time to get in. Maybe there's a sense of urgency because you have only a limited number of seats for your class, and they can sell out. Maybe, the class is closing, enrollment's closing, right, at a certain time. So make sure you give them a reason to take action. Please buy is not a reason to buy, okay? You want to make sure that they have a reason to do that. All right, let's keep going. All right, risk reversal, very important when you're selling, okay? You need to make sure you lower the risk for the buyer as much as possible. So it's really a no-brainer. So it's like, okay, I have no reason not to buy, okay? So we have experimented along the years with free trials and money-back guarantees. It all depends on your business model, depends on your price point. You need to experiment for yourself, but you need to have one of these. You need to have some way to tell them, hey, if you're not happy with your purchase, you're not an indentured servant, right? There's a way for you to get out of this. There's a way for you to reverse your decision. And it shows you're confident that they won't do that. By offering it, tell them, hey, I think you're going to love it so much that I'm actually willing to allow you to reverse this decision if you don't like it, but I'm pretty sure you'll like it. So that's kind of what it's telling people. And also allows them to feel like there's no risk involved for them to buy. So a free trial for us, like we have a 14-day trial, and they sign up to Webinar Ninja, they don't actually get charged until day 15. So it makes sense for them to sign up with the offer, get the special bonuses, get the discount, whatever we're offering, because, hey, they want to lock that in so that they can actually get that deal, that price, those bonuses, lock that in. And then they can make the decision within 14 days if they want to actually stay on or not, or see if this is a good product for them. Okay, so that's what the free trial does. It makes it a no-brainer. Same thing with a money-back guarantee. If you're doing a 30-day money-back guarantee, 60-day money-back guarantee, whatever your money-back guarantee is, it just tells them that, hey, I'm putting my money where your mouth is, where my mouth is. I believe in my product. If for some reason you don't like it within the next 30 days, 60 days, whatever your policy is, you can, get a refund. And it lets them know that, hey, even though I'm parting with my money today, I can get it back if I need to, okay? So it definitely lowers the risk. Free trial is a little bit more of an aggressive risk reversal, meaning that, like, they're not paying anything when they sign up. So there's really no risk there. Okay, next is special deal and a risk reversal. It's kind of a no-brainer when you say, hey, get this special deal, plus you're not making any commitment because you can get your money back or you don't pay until day whatever, right? It makes them feel like, hey, I need to grab this deal, and there's no reason not to because I have nothing to lose. That's really what you have to tell people. You have nothing to lose. That's really what you need to communicate with your free trial special deal combo. It kind of compounds the pressure to be like, oh, okay, I like this product. It fits my needs. It solves my problems. Okay, I really want to buy it, but I'm not sure if it's right for me. I'm not sure if I want to make this kind of investment. I don't know if I'm going to get a return on investment. By having the free trial and the special deals, like, well, okay, I'm getting it at a good deal, and if it doesn't work out, I can always reverse that risk and get my money back or cancel before the free trial. Live testimonials are great. I love to have, this really works well. If you have somebody on your webinar that's already a member, already a buyer, you can invite them on the webinar to join, and they can give their testimonial on chat, or you can make them a co-host and they can get on video and talk about their experience as a customer of your product. Case studies are great too. These are like testimonials where you actually show them what happens when somebody buys your product, what are the results that you actually produce. Okay. And then, of course, value versus price. And this is a big one. I'm going to take a sip of water because it's a big one. I'll take a sip of water real quick. And what you want to do here is, okay, so let me step back up a little bit. Anytime you bought anything, your last meal, your iPhone, your smartphone, whatever, your laptop, the shirt on your back, the only reason why you bought is because you felt the value outweighed the price. That's why you buy. At the very minimum, you feel like the value equals the price. This is worth my money, right? So you need to make sure that your job in sales is to make sure you overwhelmingly show them, hey, the value is so much, it's well worth the price, okay? And the way to do that is to show an ROI of some sort, right? If you're in the health and fitness industry, and let's say, for example, you have a program that allows them to lose 10 pounds in 2 months, whatever, this is just an example, okay? Show them how much pain it is to lose weight, how many things you've tried in the past, how much money you spent in the past, how much time you wasted. If you can get this result, how much is that worth? A huge amount of value, right? It kind of overshadows everything else, including the price of your product. So you're like, okay, that's definitely worth it because you've shown the value. You need to really show them how much value they're getting, how much money they're going to be saving, how much time they're going to be saving, how much headaches they're going to be saving, all that kind of stuff. For example, with Webinar Ninja, I show them, hey, whether you go monthly or annual, you're paying roughly $49 a month to get started for the starter. If you go annual, it's around $39 a month for the starter plan. If you run one webinar a month and make one sale of your product, and your product is more than $39 a month, or $39, you're going to make money on every webinar, right? If you just make one sale, most people make multiple sales on a webinar, right? So I immediately show them the return on investment. I show them some case studies. I show them how that would actually work, okay? It's important for you to really express what value they're getting so the price doesn't seem that expensive, right? Price is really all relative, right? Why do people buy Maseratis and Lamborghinis, right? Because to the people that are buying it, the price is worth it. The value is worth it. I want that car because it's going to get me whatever it's going to get me versus the price. Okay, so your job is to pump up the value. I'm not saying fabricate, of course not, but I'm saying sometimes we forget to talk about why our product is so valuable, and we don't really use any kind of parallels. We don't actually compare it to what the alternative is. The alternative is you're going to waste your time, waste your money, and you're not going to get the results you want. The other alternative is buy my product and you'll get all this value. You see what I'm saying? Make sure the value is really well known to the actual customer. Okay. Bonuses versus discount. When bonuses work, bonus delivery, we'll talk about, are discounts necessary? Okay, so I think bonuses really work if the bonus is really well tied into the product, okay? So if the bonus helps them with implementing the product, using the product, a way for them to tie in your product with other things that they're doing. So I'll give you an example. One of the bonuses that we've offered with Webinar Ninja is Easy Course, which is a 30-day online course to teach you how to build an online course in 30 days. It's a $500 course. We bundle it as a bonus when they sign up for an annual plan on some of our webinars, okay? So why is that a good bonus? Well, because a lot of people that are starting to think about doing webinars, they have businesses and they may love the idea of webinars, but they don't have a product. Like, I want a new product to sell. I might have a product, but maybe I don't want to use it for webinars, or maybe That's great. I'll use webinars for that, but I want something new. And by having something that can allow them produce a product like a course, that is a great time. You can just create a course with this course that shows you how to do that, and then you can use webinars to sell it, right? So it makes more sense. There's there's synergy there. So make sure your bonuses tie in, whether it's a tool that complements your tool, whether it's a course that helps them with your tool or helps them produce something that they can use your tool with, all that kind of stuff. Make sure there's a tie. Bonus delivery, okay? So make sure bonus delivery is very clear to them when they are actually on the webinar. And I actually clarify this as well on the follow-up emails as well, those automatic emails I showed you in Webinar Ninja, okay? So what you want to do is let them know when they're getting their bonuses. So if they're on a trial, you obviously want to deliver the bonuses after they're charged. So if you're on a 14-day trial, we deliver our bonuses on day 15. Once they're charged for their plan, they get the bonuses, right? It's $1,200 in bonuses, not cheap, right? So we make sure that you get the bonuses when you're charged, and we make sure that's clear to them so they know what to expect. There's nothing wrong with that. People just want to have their expectations set up so they know, okay, this is when I'm going to get my bonuses. Hey, these are the bonuses you're going to get. You're going to get it on day 15 once your trial is up. Super clear. They know when they're getting it. If they're going to get it instantly after they buy, let them know you're going to get these bonuses instantly. If you need 2 to 3 days for your team to help deliver these bonuses, if there's physical products involved, let them know what the delay time is so they understand when they're actually getting this bonus. As long as you stick to that commitment, as long as you stick to that delivery date, you're going to be straight. But make sure you set up that expectation on the webinar as well as in the follow-up emails, as well as the, when they purchase, once they purchase, you should have an auto email that goes out that says, hey, thanks for buying. You're going to get this bonus on this day or this time, or all that stuff. Okay, cool. Now, are discounts necessary? A lot of people ask this, do I need to discount my product on a webinar? Yes and no, it depends. You need to experiment, okay? So I've run webinars with 0 discount for a long bit of time. We've tried discounts in the past, and we really just have to do the math. If you get 5 sales with 0 discount, okay, but with a discount, I get 7 sales, what's my total revenue? How much money am I actually making after the discount with those 7 sales? Is it more than the 5 sales without discount? That's up to you. If growth is your goal, maybe discounts is one of the things you want to do. If you want to really dominate your market and get as many people through the door, then that's something you want to look at. Discounts definitely push the needle. It definitely helps people buy, and it really helps people, incentivizes them to make a decision. But at the same time, when you have a good product fit for the customer, people will buy if the price is reasonable, as well as the value is overwhelmingly more than the actual price. So when you experiment, you also have to ask the question, am I showing the value of this product enough? Maybe I'm not. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's not about discounts. Maybe it's just I need to show people what they're getting and how it's valuable over the price. Okay? It's all relative. So make sure you experiment with your discounts. I would definitely, try a little, I'll try discounts that are quite low and then move up from there versus the reverse. People often get used to higher discounts. So it's hard to get somebody who buys everything on Groupon to buy something full price, right? So you need to make sure that you stagger it so you can test it properly. Okay. Sound good? Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. That kind of wraps up. We're just perfectly on time for the webinar. Thank you so much. I just want to recap real quick of the different steps. So step 0, of course, we're gonna pre-qualify them with some content on our website with a, we mentioned these options, a small checklist, a guide, a cheat sheet, a short course, whether it's an email course or a video course, or a 10 to 20 minute video lesson where I go into depth and detail about how I can help them, okay? And then step 1, we have to connect and qualify. We get to know them. We understand who they are. We find out if they are, if they have an issue. We need to identify that issue, what that pain point is. We all have to agree on that issue so we can be able to offer that solution with their product later on. Step 2, we're going to find out what their exact needs are. Why did they come to your webinar? Why are they interested in this product of yours? Okay, find out what their needs are, customize the close, show them the aspects of your product and service that is aligned with their needs. Okay, that's the best way to close, not just show them everything because you don't want to create overwhelm. Okay. Step 3, we're going to follow up. I showed you with the follow-up emails with Webinar Ninja how you can modify that content. We're going to show them how to watch the replay again. We're going to show them the offer again, and we're going to give them all the details they need to understand, like what the offer is, the discount, as well as the deadline. You know, why they need to take action quickly. Okay. And then we talked about our sales offer, how to put that together, as well as how to state your offer. We talked about risk reversal, all your different options when it comes to that, how to lower risk with testimonials and case studies, and of course, showing as much value as possible so the price is insignificant to the value. And then we talked about bonuses versus discounts. Okay, this is really everything you need to know to be able to run your first sales webinar. Now, it's not going to be a walk in the park your first time around. I'm going to be honest with you. It just takes a few reps. It takes a few times for you to do that, to feel comfortable in your skin, to feel comfortable with this material, okay? But the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And having this plan of action puts you in a huge advantage versus people that are just winging it, right? And I just, if you have a great product and you have a great product fit, it's just going to be a no-brainer for people to actually buy, especially when they have questions and you answer them and you actually fulfill their needs through that needs assessment in your close. Okay, guys, thank you so much. We had a small group today, but I'm glad that everybody has joined us. And again, there is a replay for this webinar, so this is saved for you to reference later on if you want to reference it. But thanks again. I really appreciate all your support and being a Webinar Ninja. So thank you so much for being a part of our community. If you have any questions along the way, don't forget, you can email support at any time. It's support@webinarninja.com. They're here to help at any time. And of course, inside the app, we have the little notification on the right, our little intercom notification where you can just send a message at any time. And one of our support reps will get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much again, guys. That wraps up today's webinar, and I'll check you in the next webinar that I see you on. Until then, keep rocking it with webinars. You know you got this. Just keep doing it, and you'll get your groove. And I've been doing webinars every week for the last 4 years now. So this is something that comes natural to me, and I don't really think twice about it when I get on the mic now. It's just very very easy because hey, it's something that you get used to. So just get into the habit of doing webinars on a regular basis, and this gets a whole lot easier. And you'll start to have fun with it. I really have a lot of fun with these webinars because you get comfortable and you find your own style. Okay, guys, I'll check you next time. Take care.